Hello all, it is Cali Q here, and today I am finally delivering my Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster review to you guys, and I have quite a bit to say about Capcom's reimagining of this 2006 classic. Now, if you guys didn't recall or don't know what this is exactly, the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is a remaster or re-imaging in 2024 using the new and current advanced technology of remaking a classic game. Let's see if Capcom's new attempt to modernize some of their old classic titles holds up in this review. Now, one of the more prominent differences of this deluxe remaster is that it is a brand new coat of paint. Almost everything from the menus to the font to the structures have all been modernized, with this emphasis on it being a deluxe version of what it used to be. And me, myself, being a huge Dead Rising fan, I admired and really appreciated these changes from the very beginning. If you could recall, the 2006 version looks a lot different, and I like what Capcom has done here by placing everything on the UI menu the way that it should be. You can check everything from your pictures, you can change some of the status, you can see some of the tutorials and different moves. It is just a nice coat of paint, and I really like what they've done with it. Now, moving over to the big graphical overhaul that this remaster has received, I personally believe that everything looks pretty darn good. Some people were complaining about Frank and his new design and his new model, and admittedly, at first it took me some time to get used to it, but now it is starting to grow on me, and I actually like the way that the character models turned out in this game. Now, as for the environments and the mall itself, to me, I love the way that everything has been fleshed out and, once again, modernized. Now, there were some complaints of that everything kind of looks a little bit washed out compared to the original, but for me, I've been liking what I've been seeing. I can see where some folks are coming from, as the original one was a little bit more vibrant in certain areas and they want a more gritty sort of aesthetic for this one, but to me, it's still our same Willamette Mall with just a different perspective. I can appreciate both aesthetics from the original and from the brand new deluxe remaster. To me, this just showcases the different range that the RE engine has, especially when you go to Leisure Park and see the different interpretation that the developers had with Leisure Park this time around instead of Leisure Park from back in the day. Here in the DRDR, they rely more on the realism and using the different shadows and different shadings and different lightings, and I like it. It gives it a different take and a different perspective, which is not always bad. Now, with the presentation and visuals out of the way, let's talk about the actual gameplay. Now, a lot of the bones of the original Dead Rising is still present here in this remaster. They've just changed a few things here and there, but the basic core gameplay experience is exactly the same. Now, when it comes to boss battles and fighting the psychopaths, it's still the same janky, chaotic experience that you guys know and love from the Dead Rising series. There's nothing like a psychopath Dead Rising battle. It's just so janky, funny, and crazy that it's what we all know and love from this franchise. Well, that is still present here in the Deluxe Remaster. You will still have to use creative ways and use your innovative techniques and using trash cans, machetes, guns, everything you can think of to take down some of these people who are deranged from the outbreak. That is where this game still shines, and I still had a ton of fun reliving some of these psychopaths, seeing their stories and hearing some of their voice acting, which we'll touch on in a bit. If there's one thing you can count on with the Dead Rising series, is that they have some awesome bosses. Even if sometimes they can be tanky or health sponges, it's still such a fun experience to figure out all of these different and creative and silly ways to take down some of these psychopaths. I love the feeling of a Dead Rising boss battle, and it is still present here in the Deluxe Remaster. Now, everything is not all sunshine and rainbows when it comes to this deluxe remaster. There are definitely some areas where there's more to be desired when it comes to this new release. First and foremost, there have been a ton of crashes and issues, initially at least, on the PC version. I have a buddy who's consistently ran into so many different crashes, and it's almost made the game unplayable, and I really hope that Capcom will release a patch for that. The performance work on PC could have been a little bit better optimized. And before I state this next point, don't get me wrong, Dead Rising as a franchise has never been the most tightest developed game, but this game also at times feels a little bit floaty, feels a little bit quote-unquote cheap. I use that very loosely because that is the nature of Dead Rising as a whole, to be kind of goofy, silly, and floaty, but this game in particular, it just feels like it's missing that one little last element of polish to make everything feels like it's secure. And I have to address the big elephant in the room, and that is the voice acting.
My store, my food, my sales.
The voice acting has certainly took a hit this time around. I know we all wanted TJ back, but it's not even just TJ as a whole. This game as a unit has downgraded when it comes to voice acting. So as a whole, is Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster worth the effort? Was it worth the repurchase, and is it worth your time? I'll have to say yes. Yes to every question that I just posed, because especially if you're a fan of this franchise, you will get a kick out of reimagining and re-experiencing some of these different precious moments and crazy moments in this brand new coat of paint. Now, it is not for everyone, and if you enjoyed the original Dead Rising, I highly advise you to continue to enjoy that product as well. While these are both made up of the same bones, they are two different projects at two different times, and whatever fits your style the best is the one that you should stick with. So, am I a fan of Capcom's latest experiments when it comes to deluxe remastering their games, as they're calling it? I'm going to say yes. I want to see this done for more Capcom titles and projects in the future. But ultimately, my final score of Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is an 8.3 out of 10. I'm going with an 8.3 because there are still some areas of improvement that should happen when it comes to this Deluxe Remaster project. When you're using those type of words, you want something to be almost perfection of what the original could be, at least as close to it as possible. But here in Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, there are still a few glitches, there's some crashes, and there's some interesting changes that they've made to the original story and with some of the decisions behind the game itself. All in all, I did enjoy my time with Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster a lot. I think it's a heck of a new accomplishment, and I love this new initiative that Capcom is on when it comes to reimagining some of their old titles. I highly recommend this game. Give it a try if you've never tried Dead Rising before, and this is my official bid for Capcom to please remaster, Deluxe Remaster, Dead Rising 2, as that is my favorite Dead Rising game of all time, and that is the game that is responsible for my love for this franchise. Thank you guys so much for watching the review. Be sure to leave a like, comment, let me know if you like this game, let me know if you like this review, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you for watching.
You know how to use this?
Kinda. I've covered wars, you know.